here. So once again, I want to welcome everybody to episode 73, live from my drum room. Today, my guest is the great Aynsley Dunbar. And without any further delay, I'm going to welcome the great Aynsley Dunbar.
Hello.
Hello. And there you are.
Hey, John.
It's good to see you, my friend.
And you too?
Yeah, it's I was thinking we probably haven't seen each other in person in a few years anyway. I mean, we used to see each other at the NAMM show every year and have a nice chat. And but it's been I haven't been since 2019, I think. I don't know.
Was that the last time? Because that was most likely the last time I was at the NAMM show. Because I always got a gig either just before it or just after it. And because I like to warm up before I play a gig, I have to cancel going to the NAMM show. And it always seemed to appear. I don't know why. One gig right there at the end or middle of January or the beginning of February, depending where NAMM was. Drive me crazy. Because I was going, I had a good time at NAMM, meeting everybody and seeing the new equipment. So now every year I still have to wait for somebody to tell me, oh yeah, do you ever try that? What? Well, they came out with this new thing. No, I haven't even seen it. Nobody told me.
No, I know. I know. But you lived in L or outside of LA for a while, right? I mean, there was a time when you were somewhat local to the NAMM show.
Yeah, I think so. About 10 years I was there in LA.
Yeah. Were you like in Ventura County or something, kind of north? Is that right?
I was I lived in, let me see, Santa Barbara.
Oh, Santa Barbara, yeah.
But mainly when I was with Zappa, now I was in LA, actually in LA for years. And actually around 3 years. And then I moved up to San Francisco, for that moment of life where you go up to San Francisco and do something different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that because when you were in San Francisco, you were in you played in some big bands but talking about LA, I know you're from Liverpool originally, right? That's where you were.
Sorry, that's my son calling me, of course.
Do you have to take it?
No, yeah. Hi, son.
But you grew up in Liverpool, Aynsley, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that till recently. I don't know why I thought you were from London. I didn't know you were from up north where those other guys were from.
Those four funny guys.
Those
great songs.
Yeah, those four guys. Did you I know they're a little older than you, but were they still there when you were like getting into playing drums and playing music, or they'd already moved to London, or the Beatles folks we're talking about? They were still there
in Liverpool, and I of course played the cavern quite often. So they did at the beginning, and they used to come down to a club called the Blue Angel Club, which used to be a jazz club, and everybody would sort of meet there because nobody expected a pop band or a rock band to be down at a club that was actually playing jazz, but they all turned up in there occasionally, and I used to sit in down there, and I remember them standing at the bar. Paul McCartney especially was at that place. He would always come down, and he would hang out. George would come down on occasions, just like if Paul turned up, then maybe George would turn up. And that was basically a couple of times that I saw them outside of any music, but I never saw them play live.
Wow.
But, different thing. I was playing jazz in those days, and they were playing rock, and it was a different whole thing,
So that was in the beginning. You were just playing jazz. That was all you were really interested in, and that was kind of where your direction was at that point.
Yes, it was actually, and it was really interesting because I took a trio down to Newquay, Cornwall, to do a cabaret club there. And we had an artist every week. So every Sunday we would go through their material and then play for the week. And that happened for a month. And the cabaret club said, hey, would you play another month? So we did. I get back to Liverpool there was one, all the jazz clubs are now rock clubs. So I went to Blue Angel, and it was like, instead of walking in and sort of saying hi to people that were all sort of spaced out, it was like a battle to get to the staircase to go down to where the music was.
Yeah.
And that was sort of one of those things which I went, oh my God, what's happened to all the jazz clubs? What are we going to do? And so out of the blue, I got this guy calls me and goes, hey, you know, I've got this thing happening out in North Wales, and I'd love you to see if I'd love to see if you would like to do it. And I went, oh yes, what is it? What's a rock? Like a rock? Yeah, a rock. So a rock gig. I go, well, who's it with? He goes, Beryl Marsden, and we're short of a drummer. So I went, okay, well, you know, I come down there. I don't know any rock songs, so that's okay. We'll help you out. So I get down there, no rehearsal. We get on stage, and I'm playing away, keeping my kick drum from playing too many notes, playing jazz. You know what I mean? So I'm holding off from just playing the anticipated notes and everything and bumping away. No 4 in the 4. Took me forever to get 4 in the 4 to want to play it. So, you know, I'm there, and all of a sudden I look at these kids, and everybody is having just an amazing time. You know, they're just, I'm going, oh, this is incredible. So I'm just sort of playing away, having great fun myself, and finding out that I'm quite enjoying this, you know. So that was my first rock gig. And when I got off, I got 5 times the amount of money I got for any gig I played in jazz. And the jazzers all said, oh, these guys playing rock and roll are undermining us. You know, they're playing for no money at all. And I went back with a different whole idea. I said, okay, well, they will finally make it worthwhile playing. You know?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no jazz gigs. So the band that I was playing with was called Derry Wilkie and the Pressmen, without Derry, the lead singer. So they asked me if I'd like to join them. So I went out the road with Derry Wilkie and the Pressmen, and we just continued from there. That was my beginning of the whole thing. And we intermingled with the Undertakers and all those guys, and Mersey, the guys that did Cross and Mersey, what was that? Another English band. There's so many Liverpool bands at that point, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite amazing, you know. Everybody was, you'd see the same people at the same gigs, like at the Odeon, I think it was, that had the revolving stage. So you set up on one side, rock band would get on the other, and it'd be a ballroom. So they would be playing on one side, and then you set up on the back, turn you around, you'd play, they'd change bands. And we were doing this, like you'd play for about an hour, and then they had another band. So they were, you know, making use of everything. And of course, the crowds were amazing.
I'll bet, yeah.
But that's
and that was the turning point for you to, like, at that point, did you kind of just say, okay, I'm gonna just play rock now. That's kind of where I'm gonna go? Or
well, it was because basically there was nothing else to play, you know. And I actually found out that I liked my peers were enjoying what I was doing. Most of the people I played with were sort of just a little bit younger than I am now, you know, which maybe they were around 25 or 30. So, you know, joking, John, joking.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
No, they were all in their 60s. All the jazzers were like 60 and older. And I was going, oh, you know, here I am, 16 or whatever, playing drums with a jazz band with everybody looking like my grandfather.
Yeah, yeah.
Something wrong with this picture. But anyway, and also the thing about it, the reason I said the peers were having a great time was when you went to these jazz gigs, there'd be 10 people out there. And it's like the keyboard player would play or the trumpet player solo and it'd be like,
yeah.
as if they knew what was actually happening. You know, people in the audience was like, come on. But anyway, that's the way it was. And it was sort of fantastic to find something that actually gave you some fulfillment of what you were doing, you know. Thank God.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And when you started off, did you take lessons? Like, did you teach yourself, or were you pretty trained as a young drummer?
Well, that brings another thought to mind, because yes, I taught myself. I
You
just
did.
picked what I was listening to and basically didn't actually copy it, but did what I thought I heard in my own way and practiced over and over and over again. And that's one of my reasons I find it very hard to teach, because it came to me naturally. And it's hard to teach people that are trying to learn by reading music or picking up what you're doing. You know, it's so much easier if you've got a natural player. You know, you see it immediately because they just pick up everything. All of a sudden, they're just playing because
Yeah.
they feel it, they understand it without even maybe knowing they understand it. All of a sudden, they're playing away and it's got feel and it's got a groove, and you go, oh, he knows what he's doing. But majority of the people sit out there and go, you know, and you're going, okay, yeah, okay. Look at that drummer, isn't he doing great? I'm going, yeah, he's doing great. Yeah. Yeah. But you know, it's like the difference is a difference of just internally feeling it and thinking you're feeling it and doing it as the book says. You've got to
Well,
know.
it's interesting though that you when you started and when you taught yourself, who were some of the jazz, must have been jazz drummers that had influenced you? Like who did you listen to?
Well, of course, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa,
Yeah.
Art Blakey,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Jones, and Philly Joe Jones, Joe Morello.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could go on because there's so
Right.
many in the back there, bebop type players, which were just absolutely amazing. I still listen to some of the old records and go, wow, that's really fast. And he's playing a million things in there, and he's most likely reading music. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he's playing this million notes because he's with Miles Davis or somebody else, you know, playing some really fantastic piece. But you know, that's what got me back then.
Well, it makes sense. Like listening to how you play, you know, it's because you have a technical. I think you have a lot of technical playing in what you do. Even the simple stuff has something a little more technical to it than just, you know, sort of like what I play, which is just basic meat and potatoes.
Show me so I can understand. Because see, you know, I've asked that. Somebody goes, "Oh, when you play some of your cliches," I don't have a cliche.
Yeah.
I don't sit back at home and play phrases that I can go and fit on a drum kit. I listen to what the music's playing, and then I add what I feel to it. It's got nothing to do with something I practiced at home that'll fill that spot, because that's not what it's about. It's about being able to fill the spot from feeling, from your soul, basically, and going from there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I mean, that's what music is all about, as you say, is like feeding off of what the other guys are playing, and something comes to you, just the spontaneity of just playing something right there in that moment that is the result of what the bass player is playing, or the keyboard player, the guitar player. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's usually guitar players that come up nowadays, because they come up with the little Philly bits that you've got to find and follow, because you can drive a guitarist off the stage if you can find a way of playing with him, you know, finding his little groove hot spots that he'll throw a thing in that you can actually follow and push him off so he actually starts moving, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Very hard to do with a keyboard player nowadays, because you know most keyboard players are sort of playing organ or synthesizer of some form. And basically, from what I've seen when I've been watching bands nowadays, most of them are listening to a click track or a sound thing, which is filling in stuff behind them anyway. So it's very hard for them to even really be playing ad lib,
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah. So Aynsley, when when did you come to this? I guess my question is, I'm trying to keep a lot of this stuff chronologically.
Okay.
Like, I know that you almost ended up playing in the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Right.
And that would have been about 67, 66, 67.
Yes, yes.
Were you still in England at the time, or had you come to the
Oh,
States?
no, I didn't come to the States till 1970.
1970. Okay.
So I was still in England, and that's basically when I started my own band, Retaliation.
Right.
Was
Yeah.
right. But at the same time, that was when I joined Jeff Beck with, Ronnie, Ronnie Wood and Rod Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Right.
yeah.
And that was around that. That was around that time.
67. Yeah. It's after
67.
I left John Mayall and the Blues Breakers.
Right. Man. It's easier to name the people that you haven't played with. I think it's the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. That's probably it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I could. I think the Rolling Stones might be interesting, but who knows?
Yeah.
That's one of those things which I said. Actually, it was the Rolling Stones I saw playing at the Cavern. I went to see them because I thought, okay, I've got a night off. I can go down there. So I raced down the Cavern, watched them playing, and I watched Charlie Watts take his boots off while he played the kit. So he played barefoot on the drums. And we played through the set of the Cavern, which was a little set, and that was fun. Then they went down the Blue Angel, and they sat in at the Blue Angel and played some of the songs.
Wow.
Which was also really intriguing because
Yeah.
to find them over the same club I go to was again that same in the know place that people got to go. Oh, the Blue Angels, the place that's happening.
What a great time, in history when, there was all, like you say, all that music, all those clubs, and a band would do a whole night at one place and then go to the other club and sit in and play a bunch of tunes more. It was like a regular, that's what musicians did back then. It was.
Yeah, it was, everybody loved their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't so much about, we got to hang the speakers here and we got to make sure that the band plays the same every night so we can get the lights right. Yeah. And then the guy doing the sound out front has got to know when the guitar solo is happening because he can't tell by looking at the stage that there's a guitar about to walk forward and start playing. So that's what happened to corporate rock. After all that, we ended up becoming basically captured by sound and lights. So the show looked great, but the band wasn't performing anymore because the band was now stuck in a rut of playing the same every night.
Mm. Yeah. Well said. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You got a lot of folks watching, by the way, Aynsley. A lot of great drummers, a lot of great people. Dave Aberzies, who was the drummer in Pearl Jam for many years, is a big fan. He says hello.
Well, say hi for me.
Yep.
To everybody.
Hi, Dave. John Tempesta, who plays in the Cult. Also, you might know John. He's an old friend. He used to probably do the autographs with you at Zildjian at the NAMM show. He's watching. Yeah. A lot of great comments. I got to go back for a second. Jim Turner said he bought a DW set. Where did I see that? I bought my first DW kit because Aynsley told me how nice they were. So.
Well, thanks, Jim. I'm sure John Good is happy.
Yeah. I'm sure he is too. Wow. That's great.
I'm glad you enjoyed them though, Jim. Hopefully Jim liked them.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. So you moved to the States in 70.
Yeah.
And you started playing with Frank Zappa not long after that, right? I mean, he brought you over. Okay.
He met me at the big festival in Brussels, big being the big record company, and BYG. And I was signed to them with Retaliation. So he came over and did supposedly he was just hanging out. I don't know if he played any time, but he didn't have his guitars with him because obviously for the reason he asked to sit in with my band. And that happened through a producer that worked for the TV, Paris TV. He used to have me over to do interlude spots playing drum solos at various spots. So he'd bring me over and I'd do a 15-minute drum solo. they would tape it and then use it as an interlude. And I'm going, Jesus, it's gone far from that little, you know, the boat that you see down like the Thames or something. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know if you do. It was like a boat going down this like canal with trees and everything, but with nothing but quiet, easy music. Well, how about putting a drummer in there playing drums? Not quite the same relaxing moment. I didn't understand that, but he was there. The festival, he came with me and goes, would you want Frank to come over and say hi? And I went, why not? Yeah, that sounds good. So he came over and watched us play, and he asked to sit in. So we did 3 songs, a shuffle, a straight, and 1 and 3, 4. And he threw a solo at me at the 1 and 3, 4. So it was like, okay, here we go. So we did solo and everything. He was happy, and he gets off, and then he sat in the car with me telling me how much I could make in America doing sessions and stuff. And I'm going, yeah, okay, Frank. So that turned into just, I didn't talk to him again. And next minute I have this feeling I have to be down the Speakeasy Club in London. So I head off down to the Speakeasy Club. I walk in and the lady behind the reception desk goes, oh, Frank Zappa's waiting for you in the dining room. I went, what? She goes, yeah, Frank's waiting for you in the dining room. So I walked in the dining room and that's when he offered me the job.
Wow.
As well as dinner.
Wow. So where you didn't read music, what was it like to play? I mean,
I did read music. That's the one thing I took lessons for.
Yeah. Okay.
Was to read music because I had to.
Yeah.
I realized that if I didn't read music, I'm going to be missing out on a lot of different things. Especially playing with Frank when he was playing in 7s, 11s, 9s, 5s, 3s, 2.5s, whatever you could throw it at you. He'd do everything to upset the apple cart. But he was, he is really, really great to play with.
I'll bet, man. I'll bet. And I was going to say, because I mean, I would think everything you did with him, either he gave to you written out or you had to write it out or transcribe it or something, right? I mean, that was how he operated.
Yeah, well, most of the time I feel and hearing, and I could remember a 3-hour show from beginning to end with no problem with that whatsoever. That's what he told me. He said, you're like an elephant. You can remember everything.
Yeah.
That's when he asked me to rejoin the band. He said, we've got 2 days. I've got 105 songs you've got to learn. I went, Frank, I don't think that's possible, seeing how somehow some of your songs are 3 hours long. I don't think that's going to work in 2 days. And he was off touring. I think he was off touring Europe or something. And I'm going, no, you're going to have to keep the drama. Sorry. That's too ridiculous.
Wow. Do you remember who the drummer was before you in Frank's band at that time?
Which part? The one when he asked me to go and do the 102 songs?
Yeah.
No, I would hate to say. No,
okay.
I will not say.
Okay. No, I was just curious. Okay. No, that's you're a good man. You're a good man. I was just going to ask you just to talk about, you told me this story a million years ago, just in a conversation we had, that you were playing with Frank at the time of the infamous Montreux Smoke on the Water. Yeah. That what the song was written about by Deep Purple. You were playing with Frank Zappa and the Mothers were at the best place in town. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things. I don't know how it started. They said it started with a flood gun or something.
Yeah.
I haven't the faintest if that's the truth or not. All I know is that when people went to grab the fire extinguishers, none of them worked.
Wow.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
And it was lattice work, all around the back of the hall and all around the hall had this lattice woodwork hanging. And once that caught, it just caught everything else that would ignite. And now I escaped with my life, and the girlfriend I had at that point, I was on stage making sure nobody stole anything as they went across the drums.
Mm-hmm.
So they would smash the rear window behind me, this huge plate glass window, and they were dropping people out the window. All the audience were going out the back because the fire was at the far end of the hall at the entrance. So it stopped people going out. So they all clambered out. I'm up on stage. I wait till everybody's clambered out, then I get down, the smoke's already hitting me in my head, on my head, and I could start feeling the smoke inhalation getting to my chest. So I went, okay, let's race downstairs and find our way out. So we went downstairs and into the underground part where they had all the it was like like one of those terrible gardens, what do they call it? Where they, you can get lost in the maze. And that's where it was down below. And I was getting lost, and I could see all the equipment ready for the sound, from doing those songs from Water guys. And I'm going, okay, where we go? And then all of a sudden, the road manager appears and goes, "Go this way." So he took us out a side door, and we got out of it. We went back to the hotel and played Yahtzee and had cognac. And that was the only other things I remember. But it didn't really hit me. And it still hasn't really hit me that I know we ended up not making it. But what got me more was the fact that I went back next day, and the only thing left of the drum kit was an LP cowbell. The only thing that would stud the heat. The I-beams in the ceiling were melted and were sort of dipping in the center. And the drum kit was no sign of anything left on stage.
Wow.
Everything had melted in the heat.
Wow. Unbelievable. Thank God you got out and, but
Yeah, it was one of those things where, luckily the road manager came to find me. Otherwise, we might have been walking around in circles down below because there was like no way out. We didn't really have signs saying exit.
Right.
It was
Right.
like you just walk past equipment and stuff stacked all down these little hallways. So
yeah,
that's one of my 9 lives.
Yeah. And I have to ask, were you playing Ludwig at that? Was it a Ludwig kit that was lost in the fire?
No, it was oh God.
Was it a Heyman? Did you play
There
Heyman?
you go.
Yeah.
The other member of the kit. It was my Heyman kit.
Yeah.
And I got back to England. They gave me another Heyman kit. And I'm really at a loss. Somewhere down the line, somebody either in America, I know who painted it when I was with Journey, but before Journey, I had it painted by somebody, and I've got a feeling it was done in England.
Mm.
But they painted the drum kit with stars and planets.
Wow.
Because
I've got
dark blue or black.
I've got a Heyman kit in the other room, a 4-piece.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I'll show it to you afterward. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful little drum set.
Yeah. Well, this was amazing. They tried to get me to take the ones that were, self-tuned. You ever see those?
The ones that
the lever, take off the rim, throw the head away, put the head on, put the rim back on, connect all the tension rods, and then push the lever down, and it would remember exactly where you had it tuned. So it was perfect for on stage. If you went through a head, somebody else could change the head while you're playing and be done in like 5 seconds. It was unbelievable, but they really didn't sound as great. Because all that metal work cutting into the wood didn't really make the wood resound.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah, great idea. But sometimes those, But I remembered that you did play Heyman at a point, and that,
And that reminds us, because Heyman's the same lugs as GW.
Right. So you've kind of come full circle on that.
You could say so.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that all happened, Ainsley. That was like 71. Was that when that happened?
I think it was somewhere on there. I really can't remember what date it was exactly. But all I know is Frank asked me, he goes, "Well, what do you think? Should we cancel the tour now?" And I went, "No, Frank," because one of those guys and those things. I said, "No, Frank, I can get new kit. I get new cymbals from Paisley, and because I was using Paisley cymbals in those days."
Yeah.
I just did the deal in Switzerland because that's so I made the deal with them, and so they supplied with cymbals in England, and Heyman supplied with the drum kit. We were ready for these 4 shows. I can't remember what it was, but it was like 2 shows a night. all sold out. We
Yeah.
do the first show, and then Frank gets pushed off stage. And
So
that was it for
Yep.
like 10 months.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
And you continue to play with Frank another few years after from that point on until Journey? Was Journey the sort of next?
No, David Bowie was.
Oh, David Bowie, yeah.
Yep.
Man.
So that was interesting. In fact, that came about after Frank. I was in Los Angeles, and I got a call from a producer called Bob Ezrin, and he told me that okay, I'm going to do this album with Lou Reed. I'd like you to come to Canada, run through some of the songs, and check this out with me. So I flew to Canada, checked it out. Then we flew to England. And when I was in England, when I'd been with Zappa on the road, we'd been listening to Jim Pons, who's a bass player with Zappa at that point. He introduced me to David Bowie. And I'm listening to this stuff. I go, that's really interesting. It's different, completely different. And I didn't know if it was my cup of tea or not, but I sort of listened to it. And then I get this gig, and we go over to England. We're staying at the Carlton Hotel in London, Knightsbridge somewhere, and getting to do the gig somewhere around about 7 o'clock at night or something, and then finishing around 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, and coming back in bright sunlight from a dark studio. This was the Berlin album, and the album was just fairly a little bit depressing, to say the least. And it was one of those things where I'm sitting in the room, ready to go somewhere, and the phone rings. I'm going, oh, that's unusual, because we didn't really have cell phones back then.
Right.
The phone rings in the hotel, and I go, hi, who's this? He goes, it's David Bowie. I go, David Bowie? And he goes, yes. He goes, I'd like you to come down to the show. We're having a final show of the Spiders from Mars tonight at the Palladium, I think it was. And Jeff Beck's going to come down. I'd like to come down and sit in. So I said, can I bring Lou? Because I knew they were having some problems.
Yeah.
He goes, okay. So I called Lou up. It's our day off. So Lou, David just asked to go with so and sit in with him, and I asked if you could go, and he says, yeah. He says, no, I'm calling a session tonight. So we spent 3 hours in the studio with heroin going on. I didn't say that. But anyway, we get zeroed up, as you can imagine. It's like go over these songs for no reason whatsoever. So in the end, I managed to drag him to the party, the after party. And he goes in, and he and David reunite as friends again. And you see, there's a picture of me sitting at a table with Lou Reed, David Bowie, Mick Jagger. I think it's Keith is there too, and maybe 1 or 2 other people, all sitting at this table. It was after that party, and I felt good about reuniting them together. But then out of the blue, David goes, would you like to join me and do my next album? So we went through all that, and I said, yeah, that sounds good. So I joined Bowie for 6 months, and then came back to England, back to America. And on my message machine, there was this Herbie Herbert, Neil Sean here. We'd like to ask you if you'd like to be, or would you be interested in hearing our music and da da da. So I called them up, and they came down and played the music for me. I listened to it, and I go, that'd be great. That sounds to be my sort of feel. So that was the beginning of the journey.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that you answered a question I was going to ask, which was that an audition situation? I didn't know the origins of the very beginning of the band, if they had, so they basically just, they knew who you were, they knew you're playing and asked you to come join the band.
Well, actually, the only person that might know my playing might have been Herbie Herbert. The other guys just, well, you know, Greg Rowley said to me, I've never heard of that. I went, okay, great. But that all changed when we finally joined the band, when we got the band going, and we played our first gig at some hall here or hall in San Francisco, when the band had to be introduced by name. Like, this is Greg Rowley, Neil Sean, Ross Farley, George Stickman. And of course, I was the last guy. And of course, my innovation was 10 times louder than everybody else's, because nobody knew who the hell they were. You know? So, so consequently, after 2 times doing that, it was going, oh, but now we're going to be called Journey when we go on stage. I went, oh, what happened? Well, nothing. We just feel that it's better if we went on as Journey. So I went, okay, that sounds good. Well, whatever. Part of the family. I was told. But anyway, changed.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how it all began. And we moved on from there, one album after another. And,
Yeah.
Robert Rock.
And you, yeah. And you overlapped. Was there one record that when Steve Perry came into the band where you guys weren't in the band at the same time, or was it more than one record?
We just did the Infinity album.
Infinity. Okay. Yeah. And that was his first record, his first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And Greg was the singer, sang all the stuff
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was previous singer. Yeah. Gregory.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you made some great records with them, Aynsley, some great, timeless recordings that, they, as you know, they're part of the catalog that they still play today. So.
Yeah. And I heard they tried to play Kahoot and all that without me on one of the gigs. It didn't quite sound right because it was sort of triplets instead of 16th notes when it came to the double kick up. But anyway, that's one of the things that I see. We've got a lot of great reviews from people watching it, but after playing it, I know what a 16th note sounds like. Especially when you're doing a single kick, not a double kick.
Oh man,
playing that.
Yeah.
And I just had the greatest time playing all that stuff because it's a little more difficult playing it with one kick, but at the same time, you're more locked in with the hi-hat as well. So makes it much more crisper.
Yeah. 16th notes with one bass drum. Wow. Yeah, that's.
Well, if you ever listen to the Cooterhead on the first album, you'll hear that as it rolls through the center part where it picks up speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't do it. It's just, it's one of those things that I really enjoyed because the band just flew and when it hit that point.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, that's a good feel. That's a great feel when you're a drummer to feel the band take off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, no, that's, yeah. I mean, this is, see, I told you we'd be talking more than 5 minutes.
Well, I said 10. No, actually, I said 5 minutes. You said 10.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, everybody watching at home, when I said to Aynsley said, so what are we going to talk about? And I said, well, we'll talk about your incredible career. And he said, well, that'll take about 5 minutes, but here it's been 45 almost. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's.
So maybe I do have an interesting career. I don't know.
We've only gotten to Journey. The next in by my chronological order, but you'll please correct me. But the Starship came after that. Jefferson Starship came after Journey.
Yes. Yeah.
Still up in the Bay Area, and
from one big band in the area to the next big band in the area.
Yeah.
But I learned from being in Journey that they needed a singer that was, had a high voice and could sing. And so we found one.
Yeah. Incredible. Mickey Thomas.
Yeah, he took over fantastically and sang the parts. He could sing higher than Grace. That was the weird thing.
Yeah.
But he was great on all the albums he did, and I had had a lot of fun with the band. And I remember Greg going, they're a bunch of hippies. I went, so what? You know,
Yeah.
what's wrong with
But
being a bunch of hippies? You know,
but when you joined the band, I was thinking about this too. Um, I loved the band before you were in the band. I loved the band when you were in the band, but they were a bunch of hippies before you. But I feel like you and I think Mickey as well, but you brought them to this other level musically. Like I yesterday I put the video of you playing Find Your Way Back from a TV show from 1981, this TV show called Fridays. I don't know if you remember.
no, it's too far back for me because I was much younger.
You were much younger. We all were. You were about
No, it's just
1981. You were about 6 or 7
six.
years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you absolutely killed it. I mean, the whole band played it almost like the record, which was amazing in itself because it's a song that's not a lot of bands could play it that way live. Do you know what I mean? It's all the guitar parts and but your drumming, there's the fills that you play in a couple of spots are just they were very different from anything you'd ever heard the Starship play, or the Airplane, I guess was what they were before that. But I always thought you took them to another level. It had it, and I think it was your musicality, your musicianship that sort of pushed everybody. Would you?
I hope so, because I think they were depending on me to get them somewhere new. And it's like, the opening to Freedom at Point Zero or whatever, 16 bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't really go to the drum fill, 16 bars lead in. And Hungry Eyes, and that, they go with Hungry Eyes. They were fun songs to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Jane is another great.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But Jane was written more by other people. David Freiberg, I think, had to do with that.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of other people wrote that, so it wasn't really a Starship song.
Gotcha. Yep.
But the utilized well.
Yeah. With the production too, the sound of your drums, it was an incredible, live, not the kind of sound that you were used to hearing at that time. Your drum sounded wide open the way you play. It sounded like you. And yeah,
Hopefully.
No, absolutely, Aynsley. Yes, and so when Mickey joined the band, did you guys come in at the same time, or had you done a record before he was Marty Bent?
We came in at the same time.
At the same time.
I didn't want to put anything out that would mean more changes in personnel.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and Johnny Barbada, had he like broken his arm or something? And was that what the
it was a very complicated situation, which I talk about.
Okay.
But nothing personal or anything. It was a complicated situation.
Okay. No problem. I'd always wondered, like, you just came in so seamlessly after he'd been there for a bit, and it, like I said, it was a different sounding band. And I was going to also say that was Grace, the first record you did when Mickey had joined the band as well, was Grace not in the band at that time, or was she still there?
No, she left.
She had left. Okay.
So Marty,
Yeah.
The band was sort of looking for new everything, basically.
Yeah.
Apart from Craig, who playing the great leads, and David Freiberg and
Paul.
And Paul and my good friend who played keyboards, English, and boy, how could I forget him? We used to do sessions all the time. Great bass player. I mean, he and I got on so well, musically and feeling wise. I'm saying this because I'm trying to get this all together. Do I have that anywhere around? I suppose I don't. No.
Yeah, Dave Abraziz is saying he drove that band. Absolutely drove that band.
Let me just think about this, because he is a major person in my life, because he's the one because we did sessions. He was the guy who goes, okay, let's put him in the band, and he pushed my name forward. and I'm looking at him right now. I can't put the name together. I can't, sorry, I'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
I don't
Yeah, no
stole
problem.
everything.
So yeah, so and then from Starship, it was it Whitesnake? Well, probably some things in between.
Yeah, a lot of different little bits and pieces. You know, I think I worked. I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was putting. I was putting bands together and trying to get bands going that I could. You know, it's so difficult after playing with so many great musicians. Trying to put a band together with pickup musicians was very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know, it's hard to find established musicians when they're already working. They don't want to give up their established job to join a band. So
right.
that was a very hard part. So along came David Coverdale. And, well, actually, I'd heard about Whitesnake about 6 or 9 months earlier. This attorney called me up and said, by the way, Whitesnake's looking for a drummer. You're interested? And I went, is it heavy metal? And he goes, yeah. I went, no, I don't think so right now. So I went on doing these things with the bands and finding out that most people are flakes. You know, I went, okay. So I called the attorney up and I said, well, did Whitesnake find anyone? And he goes, no, are you interested? I went, yeah. He goes, okay. Got in touch with David and we had a rehearsal next day and went through things. Then David took me out to dinner a couple of times and went over what was happening with the band and all the other relevant things to joining the band. And
Yeah.
I joined Whitesnake. And then out came that album 2 years later, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did my parts in 1985.
I thought you were being sarcastic. 65.
Yeah, it could have been. No, no, I was actually being realistic. Just my mind just disappeared into 60 instead of 80. But yeah, because I'm still trying to catch up where we are. You know, timeline.
So
Yeah,
you did your parts in 85. Wow.
yeah. And then they had problems. David had problems with his voice or something. And they tried different studios to get this. And then I don't know what was going on with Mr. Sykes and John Sykes.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of ego problems in the band. So, you know, it was sort of like putting things off and trying to get things right for everybody enjoyed themselves. But they toured the whole world trying to find a studio.
Yeah.
And basically wasted tons of money doing it. Because ended up, might as well have done it back where they were because they got the same thing that they would have done. You know,
Right.
So it was.
You could write. I was going to say you could write a book. You could write 10 books.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that's in the future somewhere. But each chapter will be to a separate band.
Yeah, yeah, and it would be a big book. And I was just going to say, isn't it? You can speak to this better than almost anybody I know. What you just said about how the amount of money bands used to spend on recording and as you said, you know, going from one studio to the next and ending up at the first place, having spent all this money, and you've got to recoup all those costs, right? I mean, before $1 gets in your pocket, all that money has to be paid back.
You have to also realize, John, there's the accountants, this is the managers, then there's the producers, then there's other things which have got to be like the attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it comes down to you getting paid, there's a measly $2 or something left after $6.5 million have been spent. Yeah. It's like, what the heck happened to the money? Yeah. Oh, here's our accounting. See the attorneys we had to use, and then, well, it cost us $2 million to do the album because we needed to travel all over the world so we could get the vocal at the right place to put. Yeah, I was like, oh, beautiful. You know?
I know, and people watching this should understand this too. I mean, that record, I don't know, it probably sold 10 million copies. You know, I mean, more than that. Yeah, I mean, and records back then would sell 10, 20 million copies, which people don't come close to that now. But as you say, there was so much overhead to recoup.
It's all the hidden costs. Like I have my own manager right? And yet I'm paying their manager, which has got nothing to do with me. But all of a sudden he's taking his 10, 15 or whatever percentage out of the gross that's left, you know. We get down to the pittance at the bottom, and then they go, oh, well, you know, we're sorry to tell you this, but there's only this amount of money. I go,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, okay. You really got backing for all this stuff? Oh, yeah, but if you want to go through it, you're going to have to get an accountant to go through it.
Yeah.
And then you spend $25,000 trying to find behind your money, and it's so well hidden that you might as well forget. But
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to say, you'll spend more money
yeah, trying to find
it. Yeah, exactly. And they probably know that. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, when you hire a lawyer to sue someone and you end up spending more on the lawyer than what you're going to get. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just like, that's the miserable part of it. We're doing this for the love. And just that whole situation is turned around because you go, oh yeah, it's like being married, you know. So we can take this person because they have no idea what they're doing. And we can just lead them down this alley, and can sign all this paperwork, which means nothing in the end. Because you're gonna, you have everything else is here in our hands and we handle it all. And you have no way of ever knowing how many records you sold, how much money is supposed to be from those records. There's just no way that you can find out. You have to trust the record company.
Yeah.
Depending on your record company, they can tell you sold 3 albums and then you sold 20 million. Or, and, oh yeah, people have them. I don't know how they got them. They must have, got them from somebody else, but we didn't sell them. But, it's just like a losing battle for musicians.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to fight for every cent you want to get.
And now there are other elements that you're up against with streaming and the little pittance that musicians make from that. I know it's
like well, actually streaming actually pays the big bands because they have got contracts which help. But if you're dealing with a company that says, okay, well, we're taking half your publishing or all your publishing,
yeah,
well, that's your lifeblood.
Right.
That's what you're going to live on for the rest of your life, is that publishing. And to have somebody steal it from you when you're making an album just so you can get an album out there is ridiculous. It should be a law against that.
And that's a common tactic, right? They'll basically negotiate. Yeah, they'll say we'll do another record with you, but you've got to give us the publishing, or you've got to give us X percentage of
the publishing.
The publishing. Yeah. It is. It's criminal. It really. It's.
Because you should be. You're the songwriter and you're publishing this music. It's got nothing to do with the record deal. The record deal is to do with the record, not with the songs. They can tell you if the songs are good, bad, or ugly, but taking your money for you actually writing the songs is like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, you write the songs and I'll take your publishing. I still want a record deal, okay?
Yeah. See, that's why I do this podcast. I can make, much more doing this than a record deal with a record. No, I'm kidding.
All right, you're making millions. So.
Making millions.
You told me you made $2 million every podcast.
So you've just been kind of like everybody else the last couple of years. You've been sort of like in sort of chill mode, right? With playing, but it's looking like maybe things are going to open up a little bit.
Well, yeah, but that's all politics too. So yeah, we're going to open up because of elections are coming up again. So we're going to open up and everybody's going to get COVID again. And then we're going to go, well, you should have done what we said before, because back here in Vegas, they're not wearing masks. And I'm afraid to say that I just don't trust anything. I would still wear a mask. And, when I go out, just because there's so many people out there still with it.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. We're still, my wife and I, when we go out into a public place somewhere, not not, and we won't get into all that stuff now, but I agree. It's better to be safe than sorry. So
Exactly. And
yeah,
we got to face it, but the gigs are going to come back. And I did get offered a couple of gigs in Florida, but because of the mask situation there, and it would mean 4 flights for me to get there. And I'm going, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play for an audience that's not wearing masks. I'm not going to be around people that don't think they need to wear a mask.
yeah,
So I'm sorry, I can't do the gig.
yeah.
So I had to
Well,
cancel a couple of gigs.
hopefully it'll by the summertime. I mean, who knows? They are saying though that by the summertime that a lot of this will be somewhat back to normal. And you had been playing with Eric Burden and the Animals for
Well, I did that for till about 2001. Now I'm playing with another band called World Classic Rockers.
yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is sort of it's a fun gig, but I've been with them for 20 years now.
Oh, you have. Okay, I
Yeah,
I
which is
thought
sort
you.
of, I've never been with a band that long.
Must be a good group of guys
Oh,
and
they are.
gals.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have fun when we get together. But again, because of COVID, last gig was last March.
Mm,
And as soon as we did the gig, because it got worse and worse, and that was the last gig that anybody wanted to do.
yeah.
Because corporations were pulling back and they stopped, partying and all the rest of it. And they're still a little tentative now. They're not just racing out and booking. They're just watching what's happening because, Omicron just went by or still going by.
Yeah.
And they never know what's following.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could be worse than Omicron, it could be worse than COVID-19. It could be, a real killer, but it might be a mixture of everything. But who the heck knows until we see what happens with this no mask policy now.
Mm-hmm.
See if it starts catching again.
Yeah.
But we can only hope that people use a little forethought and be careful about others as well as themselves.
Right. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Just that's what we can, and we use our own personal judgment. Like you say, like your decision to not go somewhere where you don't feel it's a safe place to go, and on a much smaller scale, I play in a band, and we had a bunch of gigs booked in January, and we just thought it would be best not to do them, in small places, and especially here in the wintertime where it's just you can't open windows or any of that sort of thing, and other bands were playing and out doing their thing, and that's cool, but we just thought it would be better not to. So
Well, I agree with you, especially with Omicron, the way it was going. In fact, I've spoken to a whole bunch of people who have caught Omicron.
Yeah,
They
me too.
don't know how, but they've got it.
Right, they got it. Yeah, that was like, I think if you only had to think about it hard enough, you'd get it.
Exactly. Just say the word too many times, and suddenly it's found you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to just read you a couple of quick comments here because we're getting close to the time here. But my friend Tom Evans loved your playing on Bowie's Diamond Dogs, as did I. And just lots and lots of great comments. And let's see, I told you what Dave Aberzies said. You remember Lenny DiMuzio that worked at Zildjian for many, many years? I think you knew. Yeah, of course, the great Lenny. Well, his daughter, Therese, may Lenny rest in peace. His daughter, Therese, is watching, and she said, "Wonderful to see Aynsley again after all these years. He's inspired so many, a versatile legend."
That's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
And your
beautiful
dad's
Therese.
really great to me. So,
Yeah.
that was just, he looked after me like you wouldn't believe.
I know. Lenny was the best. We all learned from Lenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a wonderful human being. But Aynsley, this has been great. I know we could dig really deep and go on, but I just wanted to tell you how much I've enjoyed all the years that we worked together, and how much your playing still inspires me today. When I listen to records that you're on, it's an honor.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll keep on playing.
I
If they
think
let
so.
us.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll see each other, in person
Yes.
again. Yeah.
I hope so.
In the not too distant future. Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody for coming and watching. And
Yeah.
all the best to everybody, and stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, guys.